I feel like, you know, we come in with a promise, we come in with a contract, and we're here to accomplish goals. We know that we have spiritual lessons, but we forget, we've got these filters, so to speak. And like you said, through the conditioning and the programming and the things that surround us, alter that filter. And so I think this is a brilliant way of being able to explain how, if you can open yourself up and move past the conditioning and move past the programming that we've received, and even question what if, it allows you to open yourself up to, closer to, I should say, your truest, highest being. So, and I think it's a brilliant time to be doing that because people are waking up.
People are waking up. And one of the things you just said was really important, which is, we've each come here with lessons to learn. And what's interesting is people do our quiz, which you can do at 10terrains.com. It's a short self-analysis quiz, takes about 10 minutes. And then after that, they're able to buy a report, which basically is about a 40-page report, which goes into exactly where they're at in their spiritual journey at this time. And the main thing we've discussed in the report is the lessons that you're here to learn at this point in your journey, because each terrain is essentially a different classroom in terms of spiritual lessons, life lessons, personal, internal lessons that you're here to learn at that point in your evolution. And you may spend your whole life in that terrain, and that's perfectly fine, because you may have really deep learnings to do at that terrain. Or you may shift after 10, 15 years, you may shift to the next terrain because your life journey requires you to learn a whole other set of lessons. And in that report, we also discuss the challenges that you're facing, because each terrain has a very different set of challenges that it's dealing with. But we also discuss the gifts, because each terrain has different kinds of gifts to give the collective, to give humanity as a whole. And so often people find when they read it, like, oh, okay, now I can actually enjoy where I'm at in my journey rather than always striving to get to the next point, because there's actually amazing, rich things that I can contribute to humanity from this place with the expertise I'm developing here in this classroom. So that's really important to know, that none of the terrains are better than the other. There's no need to jump to the next one. Our culture at the moment collectively is hovering at what we would call the reflection-based terrain diamond, which we can talk about later. But basically the point is that terrain is very much about growth and expansion and becoming the best person you can possibly be. And so we're all got that's running so strongly in our culture that even people start to apply that to spirituality, wanting to get to the next point and become more enlightened. It's really important to move fast, but actually there's a lot of richness in being where you are and learning those lessons fully and contributing to the planet what's needed from you at this time.
And I would add that the idea that we need to really understand here is that we don't move. That's the ego thinking that we have control over the infinite self. What really is happening is as we heal, we surrender. And if you can imagine, if your finger is singularity and the unity that we are, and you put a rubber band on it and stretch it away, it's you that it's holding you away from yourself. And as you let go, as you clean these filters, as you do the healing, it will bring you back. It'll naturally bring you back home. So there's no moving. It's a self-healing system, where consciousness is self-healing us just like our body self-heals. We just need to, in a way, get out of our own way and let that healing occur by surrendering, by relaxing, by letting the stories go, by letting the traumas go, by whatever means. And that's where all these other healing systems come in. It's all a process of healing and letting go of what you're holding on to, the stories, the judgments, the traumas, the separation consciousness, victim consciousness. As all of that is let go and forgiven, self-forgiveness is big here, you will naturally, because you're an infinite spirit, come back home to to infinity terrain.
Yeah, and I love, Tahnee, the idea of a classroom. I think that that's a brilliant way to put this, because I think that and that's what's been so brilliant about this pandemic that we're going through. It is forcing people, unfortunately, it took a pandemic to force people to slow down, because we have become a culture of striving and pushing and grasping and go, go, go. And we're so far up in our heads that we haven't been taking the time to get into our heart. And I could see, as soon as I started reading the book, I was like, oh, people are going to want to rush to get to the unity-based terrain. I already know.